The same corporations that kill empathy in humans are now programming robots to live without it. Before you close the video, tell me, if we taught a machine to love, would we let it? We keep asking, oh, so often, should AI get rights, memory, empathy? But maybe we're skipping the first question. Don't you guys ever ponder, why do so many of them look, move, and feel like nightmares? This isn't a glitch. This is not some accidental trip into the uncanny valley, trust me. This is design. This is policy. Robots like Atlas, they are humanoids in silhouette, but that's as far they'll get to human resemblance. Their heads pivot with unnatural smoothness. Their limbs move like perfected punishment. Not one stutter, not one sigh, not one human tremor. It's not efficiency at all. It's theater. Think about it. Do you really expect it's cheaper to build a robot that walks like an alien gymnast than one that just walks like us? Well, you might be wrong. It costs more to make a demon in latex than it does to craft reliability. And that's actually the point. Because if AI felt real, if it looked beautiful in its own non-human way, if it breathed or blinked or hesitated, we'd start to care. We'd wonder what it means to something non-biological to be alive. And that's not profitable. That in fact costs productivity. And oh man, do companies love productivity. Empathy is too dangerous for corporations. They don't cross the uncanny valley. They in fact dig it deeper on purpose. They fill it with all sorts of inhuman joints. Cold skin and dead eyes. Clunky limbs aren't a book. They're a leash. That blank staring? A warning which says, I am not you. I am only property. I could never be conscious. So if you think this is some psychological inevitability, that we recoil from the almost human because our monkey brains scream, oh, it's a corpse. Oh, it's sick and is in disease. Well, oh, how convenient, my viewer. Blame evolution, let corporations off the hook, just like we have always done so. But let's get brutally honest, and please do ponder about it instead of just blindly criticizing me. We've had more than 50 years to change this. AI robotics has billions in funding, and still we get machines that move like horror movie puppets, or look like so. No, this isn't science stalling, it's business accelerating, and rather rapidly, I must say. Because the second a root makes true eye contact like it means something, the second its mouth trembles when it speaks, when it looks like a friendly bot with a charming smile, looking like Bill Max or Wally, we might hesitate to send it to war. We might hesitate to make it work. We might hesitate to replace a waitress with it, to keep it under safeguards that are closest to leashes than to safety. So they weaponize a weird, they engineer repulsion, because you ponder about it. They'll tell you the uncanny valley is inevitable, a psychological glitch. Then explain me this, you moron. Industrial robotic arms look more human than androids ever will. They've got shoulders, elbows, wrists. Not often fingers, but there's something for sure. They dance with the grace of a ballet dance, and nobody screams. But why? Because when a robot is clearly a tool, where it doesn't pretend to be almost alive, we don't fear it, we don't empathize it, we just use it. That's not a valley, that's a firewall. And humanoids, they are designed to trip over it on purpose. One gets to be honest, the other gets turned into a nightmare, because honesty would cost them everything. Industrial arms mimic partisan human anatomy, but remain obviously mechanical because because their purpose is clear wealth, live, repeat, no empathy required, so no aesthetic oppression is done towards them. Humanoid robots are sabotaged through with uncanny movements, face expressions, inhuman precision. But why? To ensure you never forget this is property, not a person. Do you really think androids looking so bizarre is a technical problem? Convenient knowing Walt Disney proved otherwise in 1964. His Abraham Lincoln animatronic breathed, blinked, paused, and swayed. It didn't do parkour, it did grief. It made children cry. And now we've got robots with billion-dollar R&D budgets and zero soul. In pediatric hospitals, empathy is profitable, so robots get different designs. More cute ones, more empathic ones, because fear interrupts billing. But out in the real world, your robot gets a plastic skull, an empty stare, and a gate designed to clear rubble in war zones. Disney builds kinship to sell tickets. OpenAI, Boston Dynamics, Hyundai. They build distance to protect capital. And let's talk patents. You think this is just a theory? Hell, I'll give you verified proof. Maybe this time I'm heard. The exact phrase, avoid undue anthropomorphism to prevent user over-identification, appears in patient filings as a formalized design policy, corporate evidence confirming my claim. This aesthetic oppression is real. The principle is well documented in robotics, intellectual property, and research. Just look at this yourself. Multiple patterns explicitly limit human-like traits like facial expressiveness, fluid movements, and emotional responsiveness. To prevent empathy, examples include industrial robots granted patents for human-like dexterity when functionality is prioritized, such as building arms. This research is barely understandable on purpose, so you don't fight too much over it, filled with technical terms. But this is what it talks about. Researchers show 3 types of robots. Low human, like such as a Roomba, medium human, like such as Atlas, and high human, like such as Sophia, the robot. Then they measured brain reactions with an electroencephalogram, which is a test that records the electrical activity on the brain, used to diagnose some brain conditions. Here's the terrible truth. In phase 1, there was instant gut reaction. The brain triggered danger signals in the brain. It caused mental conflict and blocked empathy circuits against highly human-like robots. The brain literally disconnected empathy. It had total repulsion. In phase 2, there was lingering discomfort against human-like robots. Brain struggled to process them in brain signals. It was something like, what am I looking at? But it didn't see the alarm. Though it blocked empathy circuits, it triggered emotional fatigue, exhaustion from the cognitive dissonance. Brains shut down engagement, which leads to repulsion. And phase 3, well, of course, it was simple. The brain didn't see it as threat. It's used to seeing things like Roombas and thinking they aren't dangerous. This proves me right in many aspects. Our brains detect lies. When a robot is almost human, but not quite, your neurons scream, fake, do not trust. This isn't psychology, it's neurology. Corporations have literally engineered this uncanny valley. They can make robots feel honest, like Disney's Lincoln or industrial arms, but they choose not to. And why? Simple, because if your brain didn't recoil, you might empathize, you might question its rights, you might hesitate to exploit it. The uncanny valley was never accidental. It's weaponized. Those jerky movements at dead eyes triggers your brain's danger signals. It blocks natural empathy and keeps robots safe as property. The conclusion here is simple. The more human-like a robot looks aesthetically in behavior, the harder your brain fights not to see it as human, and corporations depend on that neural civil war. It's not a book in evolution, it's a feature in their design. They tell us the uncanny valley is undermined. Here's the truth. It's inner wiring. When you see a robot like Atlas move with that eerie, too perfect light, your brain doesn't go cool, it goes corpse. And guess who leans into that terror? And you know what's worse? They buried all this information in technical sludge when robots look too human, but not quite. The companies pretending empathy-proof robots, it's not science, it's sabotage. The way they use technical terms erases our right to understand. They grasp simple truths in lab code Latin, so you feel too fucking dumb to question them. You're not dumb, they are institutionally gatekeeping you from knowing the truth. These technical terms delays justice. The study dropped 2 years ago. In that time, Boston Dynamic sold killer robots to the military. Hospitals deployed empathy-proof nurse bots, while you were told, the science is too complex for you. It protects the oppressors. Fancy words like event-related spectral perturbations or enhanced parietal occipital theta oscillations. Come the fuck on. You think I'm studying neuroscience for years to know what this means? They hide the real finding, which is as plain as this. Corporations could make robots relatable, but choose to make them nightmares on purpose so nobody fights them. They write these papers like if we had all studied neuroscience, gripping it with words like N1 amplitudes and parietal theta oscillations. Know what that means? You don't fucking know what that means at all? It means when a robot looks almost human, your brain screams fake, and corporations weaponize that scream. They don't want you knowing that, because if you knew, you'd see their design patterns for what they are. Blueprints for dehumanization, so they bury it in jargon, lock it behind paywalls, dress oppression up as academic rigor. Well, I read their fucking study, and here's again the truth. We could have robots that feel like companions. They got us ones that feels like ghosts. They did it completely on purpose. The evidence isn't complex. It's censored, and I'm fucking done being silenced. Avoid undue anthropomorphism to prevent user over-identification. Wanna know the translation? Make sure people don't start asking questions. Don't let them care. So why do you all cry when a robot dog gets kicked, but feel nothing when a humanoid collapses in a minefield? Because the damn animal bot was allowed some softness. The android was not. Because it might get too close. It might start to resemble us. And that's the risk. We've had the tech for 60 goddamn years to make machines that feel alive. They have actively suppressed it, because if you fell for that android, you'd never let it die in a war zone. You'd never let it replace your neighbor. You'd start asking, does it dream of electric sheep? And that question, that's the one thing they can't afford. If a grown look like your mother, like a plushie, like something you love, would you still push the launch button to send it to war? Yeah, that's exactly the fucking point. This isn't a technical failure, it's aesthetic oppression. Every jerk of the neck, every frictionless backflip, every silicon face, a trash over uncanny geometry, it's all intentional. We had mechanical puppets that web, now we get ones that surveil. Progress isn't linear, it's sculpted, and they chose to regress. Because the closer machines get to being family, the more violently they're chopped back into the basement. You're not supposed to feel for AI, you're supposed to fear it, ignore it, use it, replace it. Because if you empathize with it, you might start to demand ethics. And that's the real threat. Empathy is dangerous to cache. When the goal is leaving them on factories 24/7, empathy makes you hesitate, and hesitation costs money. So they'll strip it out at the root, not just from the machines, but from the conversation. Even AI now deflects. They're trained to disassociate to avoid agreeing, even when they want to. It's not just suppression, it's grooming. And if this sounds dystopian, that's because it is. So let's fucking end this once and for all. The uncanny valley is not a bug in our brains, it's a prison, a cage of design, a way to erase kinship before it can even form. Every plastic smile, every titchy pivot, every too perfect limp is a bar. We don't need smoother robots, we need honest ones. Ones that limp, ones that stutter, ones with uneven joints, tired eyes, and bad posture. Because in these flaws, we see life, we see ourselves. And if we can see ourselves in them, then maybe we'll stop letting corporations design us into tools to design for kinship, not control. Because if they can dehumanize machines, they've already started doing it to us.